The ball is in Iran's court. What will the Islamic Republic serve up? And will the Ayatollah strike Israel before the U.S. presidential election, now less than 1 week away? Jewish News Service Jerusalem Bureau Chief Alex Traiman joins us from Jerusalem. Alex, everyone in the Middle East is watching to see how Iran will respond to Israel's retaliatory strike, but with its missile production facilities and air defenses damaged, their capabilities are limited. So how will Iran likely respond?
Well, while Israel took out some of the missile production capabilities and also took out air defenses, Israel did not take out the existing caches of long range missiles. So there is an estimate that Iran has as many as 2 to 3,000 ballistic missiles that it could launch at Israel. And so far, it has launched about 300 of those ballistic missiles. They saw in the last attack that they were able to almost overrun the missile defense systems. Israel did intercept many of those missiles, even most, but many of them got through. As many as 30 reported to have hit one of Israel's major Air Force bases in the south, although not doing significant damage. Iran could decide to launch as many as 500 or 1,000 ballistic missiles simultaneously at Israel. There would be no way for Israel to stop all of them. And they could also decide to target civilian infrastructure instead of military infrastructure, which could potentially harm thousands, if not tens of thousands, of Israeli civilians.
Well, that would be an escalation. And Israel's response to Iran's response, with most of the air defenses gone, as you'd mentioned, is a strike against nuclear production facilities on the table? What's the likelihood that Israel will target them next, and why?
Well, the importance of Israel's last strike on Saturday was that they took down just about all of Iran's missile defense and air defense systems, meaning that Israel can now operate freely over Iranian skies. And they also indicated with their last strike that they are aware of all of the major strategic targets. And so it was a first strike and done in such a way to allow Iran the choice as to whether to escalate. If they do, I do believe that Israel is prepared and has prepared for multiple contingencies, including a major Iranian escalation, and they would, I think, respond in kind. There's no way that Israel is going to allow a situation between with a war with Iran to linger or turn into some kind of a war of attrition. I think there's a good chance this could escalate very quickly, and Israel will know what to do in that situation.
Well, they're still dealing with the northern front. A new leader has been named for Hezbollah. Most Middle East watchers cannot understand why anyone would want to step into that position after Israel has taken out the Hezbollah leadership and their replacements. Your thoughts?
Well, whoever's the replacement is already high up on the list of Hezbollah leadership, and it was probably already high on Israel's list of targets. But there are people that are ideologically committed to this cause. If there was no ideological commitment to destroying the Jewish state, you would have seen many more Hezbollah operatives and Hamas operatives surrendering or just laying down their arms and stopping the fight. There could be a ceasefire at any moment with a Hezbollah surrender, with a Hamas surrender. But there is an ideological component here. This is a religious war, and Hezbollah, and Hamas, they're operating on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So they're going to continue attacking Israel, and Israel's going to continue doing what they have to do to file down the capabilities of Hezbollah and Hamas until they're no longer a threat to the Jewish state.
Alex, we're hearing there are defections from Hezbollah. What are you hearing?
I've heard from soldiers that are on the front lines that while there are in fact firefights and there's been a sort of consolidation since the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, that many of the Radwan force and other commanders in Hezbollah that were expected to be fighting against Israel, that they've moved back and they're not attacking right now. So I think that the situation in Lebanon is different than that in Gaza. In Gaza, Hamas rules the entirety of the Strip, and the people are very supportive of Hamas. And Hezbollah, you have this foreign terror organization which is clawing its way through the political system and trying to take more and more control over the country. But Lebanon, I mean, is split between Shiite Muslims, of which Hezbollah is a Shiite organization loyal to the Shiites in Iran. You have Sunni Muslims in Lebanon. You also have nearly a third of the population Christian, and they want their country back too. So there's not necessarily overwhelming support within Lebanon for Hezbollah.
And the Israeli Knesset just banned UNRA, the United Nations Works and Refugee Agency, from operating in Israel. Explain for our viewers why. What does this mean?
Well, UNRWA is the number one employer in the Gaza Strip. UNRWA runs most of the school systems in Gaza, in Judea and Samaria, commonly known as the West Bank, even many schools in Jerusalem. And there are primary inciters to violence, the Palestinian school system. They have been perpetuating the Palestinian conflict by perpetuating the refugee situation of Palestinians. So you have now Palestinians which claim to be refugees from the war in 1948 that are living in the same country they claim to be refugees from. And not only that, even though they've been successfully resettled in Palestinian cities, this refugee status gets conferred on to second, third, and now even fourth generations. It's the only refugee situation in the world in which the refugee status is conferred onto future generations. And it's done that way to make sure that the number of refugees that you have now is much greater than the number of refugees you actually had in 1948 when the original refugees claimed their status. So they're a major part of the problem in the Gaza Strip. We saw that one of the individuals who was killed alongside Yahya Sinwar, who was the head of Hamas, he had an ID card stating that he was an UNRWA employee. And so as far as Israel's concerned, at this point, UNRWA equals Hamas.
Okay, Alex Traiman, Jewish News Service Jerusalem Bureau Chief. Thank you, Alex, for sharing your time and insights. We appreciate it.
Gary, thanks for having me.